Hi everyone, this is Shauna Tarosa, RAYAC's Executive Officer, and this is my desk. In this monthly video podcast, I continue to address questions that are coming across my desk every single day. And this month, I have a really interesting topic for all of you. It's about the business privilege tax and what obligations realtors have to pay that tax. So, before I get started, let's just get the disclosures out of the way. As you know, I am not an attorney. I do not play one on TV. And also, I am not an accountant or in any way, shape, or form an expert on taxes. But here's what I do know is that I believe it was Benjamin Franklin who said there's only two certainties in life, and that's death and taxes. And unfortunately, one of the certainties that realtors are going to have to realize is that if you are doing business in one of these 9 municipalities in York County, you're going to be subject to the business privilege tax. All right, so what is the business privilege tax? So it literally is what it sounds like. It's a tax on the privilege of doing business in a particular municipality. And municipalities in York County have had these in effect since the early 1980s. And there's a total of 9 municipalities who have them in effect today. And that is Conewago Township, Dover Township, Hanover Borough, North York Borough, Spring Garden Township, Springisbury Township, West Manchester Township, York City, and York Township all have a business privilege tax in effect. So what do you pay? You are essentially paying a mill based upon your gross receipts for your business. So I'll say it again, it's on your gross receipts, not on your gross revenue or your gross income. It's based upon the gross receipts, which is different than your revenue and income. So there's a clear distinction there. So the next question that we have is, do realtors need to pay it? Well, the answer to that is it depends. Most realtors who are members here in York and Adams counties are independent contractors, meaning they have a 1099. If you are an employee of your broker and not an independent contractor, as employees, you do not need to pay the business privilege tax. However, if you are a 1099 independent contractor, you are operating your own business outside of the brokerage company. So yes, you are operating a business in that municipality and will most likely be subject to paying that tax. So the next question I get is, isn't this a double tax because I'm already paying an income tax? Or isn't this a double tax because my broker is paying, based upon the gross receipts of the company, the business privilege tax? Well, there has been court cases that have confirmed that this is not a double tax because the tax itself is different in its subject matter from the business privilege. So you're paying an income tax based upon your income, but the business privilege tax is based upon the privilege of operating a business, and it's based upon not your income, but on your gross receipts. So what about the scenario where the broker is paying, and most brokers who are operating businesses in these municipalities are paying the business privilege tax? Well, my broker's paying it. Why do I have to pay it as well? Because you are operating a business. So the broker's operating a business and you as an independent 1099 independent contractor are operating a business. So yes, it is two separate businesses and they're both subject to the gross receipts of that business. Even though it may be the same transaction, they're both subject to those same gross receipts because of the business that they are operating. So the next question that I get isn't, if I didn't get the bill, do I have to pay it? Well, the answer to that is state statute indicates that just because you didn't receive the bill does not mean that you don't have an obligation to pay the tax. And I know that a lot of realtors are starting to get these business privilege tax notifications from the York Adams County Tax Bureau. And we have actually been informing and educating members about their obligation to pay this since 2014. We have been running annual newsletter articles about the subject matter, trying to educate our members about their obligations to pay the business privilege tax. But unfortunately, the word hasn't got out there. And now the York Adams Tax Bureau is doing much more concerted efforts to making sure that all the businesses that are operating in the municipality are paying the tax. So even if you didn't get a bill, doesn't mean that you don't have an obligation to pay it. And also, unfortunately, the York Adams Tax Bureau does have the authority to go back and collect any back taxes that they believe are due for the operation of the business. So the next question that I've been getting. So my physical office is in the municipality. However, my license to do business is hanging at an office that is not located in the municipality. Or even opposite of that, I'm hearing that, well, my actual office is out of my home and it's not where my physical business is located. So do I need to pay it? And so here's where I'm going to say that if you're looking to duck the provisions of paying the business privilege tax based upon where your office is located or where your license is hanging, is you really need to contact legal counsel and you really need to contact a tax professional. All of these ordinances for each municipality are different. They aren't universal. They all have different rules and regulations. So you really need to do a deep dive into what those ordinances say and talk with an expert about their interpretation to determine whether or not you are accountable for paying a business privilege tax in that particular municipality. Where can you find the ordinance? Well, the good news is that the York Adams County Tax Bureau, they have all of those ordinances on their website, and I'll put a link to that website in this video so that you can take a look at it there. The next question that I keep on getting is, why isn't RAYAC fighting this? Why isn't RAYAC as an association trying to stop members from having to pay this tax? Well, as I indicated, back in 2014, when we became aware of more realtors receiving this bill, we did some education, we did some research and background on the issue. We worked with the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors and their legal counsel to determine what obligations realtors have and if there was any way that we could successfully fight realtors from having to pay this. Unfortunately, the most simple answer is any attempt to fight this would be unsuccessful because there have been court precedences where realtors in other areas have tried to fight it and the courts have shot it down based upon the uniformity clause in the Pennsylvania State Constitution. As operating a business, even your broker who might be paying the business privilege tax, you as an independent contractor, it's applied equally to everybody. So the fights in the court cases have been unsuccessful. We also have spoken with the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors about, is there anything we could do legislatively to change it? And the feedback has been, there's pretty much nothing based upon the uniformity clause that we would be able to do legislatively to try to stop realtors from having to pay the business privilege tax. So I know that is not the answer many of you are looking for, but we wanted to be clear about all the work we've done on this issue. We wanted to educate you based upon your obligations. Really want to strongly encourage you that you need to work with your tax professional to determine what your obligations are and how much you need to pay based upon doing business in these particular municipalities. Also, RAYAC back in 2014 did create a memo that went out to the entire membership about the business privilege tax, and I'm going to make sure that this memo gets online and link it up in the video as well, so all of you can take a deeper dive into all of the different court cases that have taken place that have addressed this subject matter. So I hope you find that information to be helpful. I hope it's good for you to know that and talk with your tax accountant about your specific obligations on paying the business privilege tax. And if there's any other questions that anyone ever has, please feel free to give me a call, send me an email. My eyes and ears are always open to addressing any of the questions that you may have. And I hope you have a successful day.